folks. This live stream is brought to you by my sponsor AAA FX. Now, they're a fully regulated broker in Europe and South Africa, offering Forex indices, commodities, crypto, and over 100 stocks. Now, at AAA FX, you pay no commission on any Forex pair using their ECN Plus account and low commissions on cryptos and stocks. Plus, you can deposit with cash or crypto, get a free VPS with deposits over 5K, and easily integrate the well-known copy trade service Zulu Trade. While you're waiting for the stream to start, go and check them out by clicking the link in the description, comments, or visit AAAFX.com.
Good evening, everyone. So today I'm going to be running this live. It's the first time I've done something like this, so just bear with me here. I just want to figure out that everything is working properly. So if you could just write in the chat if you can hear me properly, see me properly, that would be great. How do I see? So without further ado, in this live stream, I want to be as informative, as educational as possible. I want to answer as many questions as you guys have, go over pairs, any type of analysis you want me to cover. I'll try my best to do so, and I'll also share a bit of what I do myself in order to prepare and be one step ahead of the markets, right? So I don't really know where to start, to be honest. I guess I'm just gonna go with the flow here. But before I do so, let me just set up all the screens here so I'm organized. So if you have any suggestion where you want to start, what pair, feel free to comment, and we'll start from there. EU. All right. So what I'm going to go over, so for almost any pair that I analyze, I want to go over a couple of factors, that being obviously starting from the fundamental perspective, get a bias on the fundamental side, both long, short term, be aware of any upcoming news events by just looking at the economic calendar, getting a feel of how the overall sentiment is looking as far as in the commercial section of trading, and obviously non-commercial. And by doing that, I can kind of so by doing that, not only do I analyze the pairs myself, and but I follow what the bigger sharks are doing. And a very simple way of doing that is going over COT. COT reports, right? Which is a commitment of traders. And that shows you what the commercial section are doing, what positions they're entering, and how it's changing by every week. What the large speculators are doing, which is more relevant to us as small retail traders, because they have a more similar goal to us, being short-term gain. And what they do is they follow fundamentals way better than any of us possibly can. So let me just pull up here. Let me share my screen. All right. So, oops. Let's maybe start from the beginning here. So first and foremost, before I even look on the charts, I want to get a feel of how we're looking fundamentally, right? So I'm going to go over the economic calendar real quick before we get into the more interesting stuff. Window. All right, I hope you can see that. So we're, in this case, we're analyzing Euro USD. So there's only two pairs that interest us, being obviously the Euro and the US dollar. So what can we see here for the upcoming week? So today was pretty empty when it comes to news releases. We had some worse than expected results on the Euro. But the impact is not significant, since it's not a high impact event. For tomorrow, we have nothing major that could affect our decision, our bias, to be honest, because regardless of these results here of the US dollar or the Euro, that's not really gonna change our opinion on it or our bias. So now that I've gone through the economic calendar, let me move on to commitment of trader report. Let's see here. All right. So what you see here is hedge funds and such, which are obligated to report their portfolio every week and the changes that have been made, right? So it's obviously gives us a hedge to know what the bigger players are doing on a institutional level. So what can we see here when we want to know about the Euro and the dollar? So we're just going to take a look on large speculators right here, because this is the non-commercial section, hedge funds and such. Euro long. So here is how many long positions are currently open for the Euro. And this is the change. So this is how many have been either added or subtracted from the total number of open positions when it comes to longs, right? So we can see here that 7,000 new long positions have been added since last week. These reports are published on Fridays. So last Friday, 7,000 more long positions have been added since the Friday before that. And when we can look here for short Euro, right here. So when it comes to shorts, you can see that there is significantly less, to begin with, there's significantly less short positions when it comes to the Euro overall. And you can see that the number of short positions have been added is significantly lower than the long position. So generally this gives us a bullish bias on the euro. Now I want to do the same thing for the dollar index. Okay, long. So there are less and less. So there are the number of longs when it comes to the dollar are subtracting by the week. Obviously, when we had the new interest rate, let me see here. So it was a decrease of inflation rate, and that directly correlates to a weaker dollar, right? So in general, that gives us a overall bearish bias on the US dollar, just from that one fundamental aspect. The inflation rate being lowered, and usually when that happens, the probability of it, they're raising it again, is very low. So it's like you have reached the top of the mountain. So just mentioning that. So when we come back to the COT reports here, we can see that long positions are being taken away. Short positions are also being taken away, but not nearly at the same rate as the longs. So you can see that the sentiment of the dollar is shifting towards bearish slowly but steadily, right? So to summarize everything that we've just looked at here, we can come to a conclusion that we are long on the euro and short on the dollar, which, now let me share my screen. Which very well fits our scenario here, right? We can see that the dollar has been gaining strength, or the dollar has been losing strength, which is mostly what caused this massive impulse to the upside. And the euro is maybe slowly getting a bit stronger, right? So starting from the weekly time frame, we want to kind of spot some areas of interest that we want to keep our eyes open for. One being this. Some trend line maybe. All right, so there's nothing more to see on the weekly time frame. So let's just take it down to the daily, see what we got here. Something interesting. Let's fix up our descending trend line. So this just by this one point, it means a lot. So we've been in descending downtrend since February 22nd, right? Just constant down, or even longer than that. But this specific trend line, right, has been, so we've been caught in this bearish channel since February. We finally broke out with a massive impulse to the upside. So what happens when we break out of something, either whether it's a break and retest of a trend line, whether it's a break of a area of support or resistance, we break out, we get a retest back to whatever area is more relevant to that whatever situation there might be. And then we see continuation, right? If there is no fundamental change or whatnot. So this is the point where we look for technical entries. Now, what can we see that will be, obviously we can just start off by identifying some fib levels. Okay. Yeah, so from the larger scale low to the larger scale high, our break and retest, or our break of our descending trend line. This would definitely be a area of interest for us right here, somewhere around this area. So the thought here, just from taking a quick look, is obviously we want to have as many confluences as possible to be in our favor. Three things I can spot right away is a 38.2 fib, this resistance acting as support, and our dynamic support of the daily 50 and 100 EMA. That's enough confluence for us to base a decision and base a entry on it. Now, if we would potentially open our buys right here, I would want to put it somewhere around here, just so we don't risk not getting ticked in. Our stop loss would be, fair to say, not too big, because we want the risk reward ratio to be fairly profitable, right? And I wouldn't want to target anything higher, or actually 75 pips or so. I mean, if price decides to come all the way down to our stop loss, then we just have to accept the fact that we're probably wrong about this trade anyway. So I don't see a point of having it bigger than this. And it gives us a very decent risk-reward ratio without holding the position for, 2 weeks, right? Now, the next point, I'm gonna answer all the comments in a bit once I'm done with this. The next point of which is a very important factor when it comes to stop loss and take profit placement, is market psychology. So let's put ourselves in the boots or the shoes of any short or any sellers at this point. So let's say we're in sell positions, we do get a bit of a rejection off this point. Where, as a seller, would we want to look for a continuation? If we just say hypothetically that Euro USD would have a continuation to the downside, and it just happens to reject a bit off of our 38.2 here, then I would look at it like this, something like this. So if price is going to reject off of this, off of our zone, our expected area, and in the long term it would be bearish still, this would be an area where I would be a bit where I would want to put my take profit, just due to the fact that if we're potentially wrong about this trade, this would definitely be an area of reversal and continuation. Opposite side 38.2. So that is my full breakdown of Euro USD. Not to mention that I am currently in a Euro USD sell, even though I am on the long-term bias, bullish bias. I have bullish bias on this pair. But I mean, the probability of it reaching our level at least is pretty high, so why not write it down? Okay, let me read all the comments here. Buddy living in his mom's basement. Buddy, basements don't have windows. That's first of all. Okay, so let's get to the real questions. GJ, GU. I mean, GU is basically, I mean, the level of the percentage of correlation has to EU is pretty similar. So I can take a quick look on it, but the fundamental side has already been covered. I mean, I've already covered the fundamental side on dollars, so I won't need to go through it over again. Gold I can definitely do, but it is very similar to Euro USD. So short-term shorts, long-term longs. What indicators can you suggest we use with supply and demand? Well, I'm not sure because, as you just saw, I don't really look for supply and demand levels necessarily. Even if I do, it's kind of it just happens to be, right? Do you trade oil or any other commodities? I do not trade oil. I trade gold and silver sometimes, occasionally. That's it. I can keep a track of gold just to for relative analysis against any currency pair that would have a impact on oil prices, such as the Canadian dollar, etc. But I do not trade it directly, no. What do you think about ICT, SCMC, SMC? I don't know. Analysis on Bitcoin, please. Well, I'm not an expert on Bitcoin. I just know I don't know any factors that would drive the price of Bitcoin. I don't know how to analyze it. And if anybody knows what really drives Bitcoin, then please tell me. Because it's a bit of I'm not going to go into that. Do you have a Lambo? Yes, sir, I have a Lambo. I do not have Lambo, no. All right, so next pair that you guys wanted to go over is gold. So let me just share my screen here. Oh, fuck. That's true. All right. So when it comes to gold, as I went through, inflation rate results played a huge impact of this breakout and USD weakness. So I did catch buys right around here, 1673 exactly, something like that. And I rode it all the way to the 100 EMA, I believe. Yes, just around here. So my reasoning for this is, when every breakout or any huge impulse to either side, there's going to be obstacles in the way. So a nice strategy for stop loss and take profit placement is just place your take profit, or this also has to do with psychology, where the opposite sides have their take profit placements, where other people have their buy limit orders. These type of things will affect the sentiment in the short term for a small while. And some people trade solely based on like the small rejections that happen here. So my guess is, so I had long positions at this point, right? My best guess is, where is the next obstacle, area of interest? So if I was a seller, where, or even no, just if in my case, where would I want to exit my trade most likely? Well, I would want to exit it at the next obstacle, being the daily 100 EMA, right? So at this obstacle, people know that many buyers are exiting at this point. So what do? They enter shorts, catch 100 pips or so, and they're out. So this happened 3 times in a row. So impulse, area of interest, area of resistance right here. A lot of liquidity at this area, as you can see, but 1, 2, 3, 4, so this is obviously a huge obstacle. So everyone who rode it from here up exited, some of them exited their longs. Shorts came in, they caught 150 pips, continuation to the next obstacle, 100 EMA. Long holders closed their positions, some shorts came in, 150 pips. And this is exactly what I did right here, which is the next obstacle, which was the 200 EMA, right? Let me just, so I don't lose it. Oh no, I'm sorry, the weekly it was right here. So this is what I did at the weekly. I had sell limits, which I can pull up. If you just give me 1 second. Yeah. Right. So sell limits at, I don't know if you can see that, probably not. So sell limits at the weekly 50 and 100 EMA. Here's the reasoning. You can pause and read that right here. And then And then so we got ticked in, and then exactly happened. History repeats itself. So here you have the previous take profit levels, boom. So 150 pips or so, rejection, and then this was the next expected, and we saw a small little rejection, 140 pips or so you could have banked. Now, when it comes to the future of gold, where do I see it heading? Pretty damn similar to Euro USD. It's the same. It's the same, really same analysis, basically. This level is obviously, or it's strong enough. It's proven to be strong enough in order for buys to be valid at this point. But I don't know if we have enough confluence in order for me to exit at this point. It actually looks fine. So nice area of interest, 38.2 fib. And then with the daily 100 EMA should be fine. Just a stop loss should be a bit widened, in my opinion, just because it's not a clear level. It's not the most probable trade we could take. I would have to monitor the USD in order to kind of base my gold entries on this. So yeah. So everything I just mentioned about gold, I did not go over any fundamental analysis or that, because if you want to see my really the only fundamental factors that concern us when it comes to gold, at least in my opinion, is just analyzing the US dollar. And I did that before, so just go back and watch that real quick. I also went over the COT reports, commitment of traders, basically, is what it stands for, and how that can be helpful to create bias in whatever currency you need to be analyzing. COT on Bitcoin. I don't know if there is such a thing. No, there is no such a thing. The reports are published by the Commodities Future Trading Commission. So Commodities Futures Trading Commission, and I don't think anyone is required to post any. Wait, let me see. I don't think anyone is required to share any portfolio information on their Bitcoin holdings. Hi, do you please entry on a lower time frame? I do not base my entries on lower time frames. I do not see any point in that. I mean, if you wanna get an edge by a couple of pips, then do that. But I base my entries based on my daily and weekly analysis. It's just that 4 hour or 1 hour price action and candle development doesn't tell me enough in order for me to base my trades on it. I just put it wherever the higher time frame major levels are that I'm monitoring, and that's it. What approach should I use in 10K funding account to pass 8% target in 30 days? 8% in 30 days. That's doable, but it's actually quite a tough one. 8% in 30 days. So you need to find if you, let's say I'm assuming you risk 1% of your capital per trade. You need to, over 30 days, get a overall 1-to-8 risk reward ratio on all your trades, which is quite a lot. But if you know what you're doing, just, I don't know, because setting a target for yourself is not the best way to go about, just because the fact that it gives you a time period to fulfill a certain goal, and if not, then you're going to spend your funding account sign up fee for nothing. So you're going to like tend to force trades and try to find improbable trades with big risk reward ratios. So just play it slow, I would say. Play it slow for sure. 2% per week. I mean, no, definitely doable. Just take your time, quality over quantity. When you do enter a trade, be sure to have all the evidence behind you. Have a fundamental. I mean, I don't know your trading style. Maybe you could be a scalper or whatever, but at least in my case, I would want to have all confluences on my side. So that being overall fundamental bias, overall commercial and non-commercial section, what their bias and what direction they're heading to, and then obviously all your technical factors that you use to analyze and look for high quality trades. Do you do top-down analysis for multi-time frame analysis? What is top-down? A multi-time frame analysis, I definitely do. Do you use leverage? Yes, I do, and there is a simple reason for that. My equity placement and my portfolio diversity plan goes like this. So if 100% of my capital is, it's going to take maybe a while to understand about the leverage question. Wait, show. Oh, this is better. So the way I place my equity is this. So if, let's say, 100% of my equity is $100,000, I would take 15% of my full capital and put that into my broker account. And if let's say I risk 1% of my capital per trade, I would risk $1,000 per trade. But I only put $15,000 in my trading account. That means I have margin to lose 15 trades in a row before I would need to put in more equity in the actual brokerage account. So it gives me enough margin to make errors, right? Those 15,000. And the other 85,000 are not left to rot in the broker account, right? Because you could put that in some stocks, earn interest, dividend payouts, whatever. Because, and that's how I diversify my portfolio. And just because I only have 15% of my theoretical capital in the brokerage account, I'm forced to use leverage because I'm taking trades based on my full capital, which is 100%, even though I only have 15%. I hope that makes sense. So for that case, I do use leverage on a bit higher scale than in my account, at least. Okay, let's see here. Top-down analysis is initially checking in higher time frame, then gradually coming down smaller time frame. Well, I guess I do that, but the time frames aren't that small in my case. It's usually just monthly, weekly, and daily. But I guess you could say I do that. Do you trade each day? What trade the most? What you trade the most? I do not trade each day, but I most likely analyze and check up each day. That's for sure. Apartment, complex, or down payment? You should ask your realist. You should ask Grant Cardone, bro. I don't know. I don't know if you're asking me. I don't rent. So, what is Fidelcrest? Is it? I don't know what that is. Oh, okay, I see. We're suddenly getting into real estate. I don't. All right. Let's maybe go through something else, something interesting. I'm just gonna look around, see what's might be interesting to look out for. That's for sure one. You will have to excuse me. I'm a bit sick today, or at least. All right, I would say Euro New Zealand and Euro AUD are potentially two pairs that we can see massive movement in a short period of time. Hide. Okay, so here we have Euro New Zealand on the weekly time frame. So once again, we had a breakout of descending trend line. It's not really a trend, but it just happens to be a trend line which has been respected in the past, which has been broken out of. And then we have made a new high. We have retested some levels, and we can see some sort of uncertainty at this point. I mean, price has been consolidating around this level for a while now. So that shows us definitely temporary uncertainty in the market. Or I don't know if I should overcomplicate it like that. Maybe it's, I mean, every huge movement is followed up by consolidation, right? So what are my forecasts on this? Let me just see here. Euro. Long. So we went over before about the commitment of traders. Report where we ended up having a bullish bias when it comes to euro, and then there is New Zealand dollar where we have long this position. So the New Zealand dollar seems to be pretty neutral. There's no real, neither the commercial or the non-commercial side are looking to really push the New Zealand dollar anywhere. What seems like it seems to be their positions are pretty similar to last week's results, so no huge sentiment change. So that's I mean, I guess that's positive for us. So when it comes to technicals, what technical factors do we have supporting a long position? Definitely our three weekly moving averages, right? That's one. We have a pretty decent fib area, the 50%, even though the 61.8 would be more ideal. I'm not sure if we are going to see a continuation down here and then push up, but who knows? I mean, if I had to say, I mean, price is leaning more to price development, and price action is leaning more to a continuation to the downside for on the short term, but you never know. But definitely, I have bullish bias on this pair. It's just a matter of when and where, because we had a 1600 pip impulse to the upside, and then directly followed by a 800 pip just crash, right? So I wouldn't say these are ideal trading conditions for my type of trading, which is medium to long term. I like to hold trades for a couple of days to even weeks, and then add on positions to capitalize on bigger movements the most I can while maintaining the same risk. So that's Euro NZD. Let's see here. This one has also been annoying. I mean, when it comes to technicals, you can just straight up see here why I was in sell positions. We had a break and retest of these very strong weekly EMAs, all three adding up to provide us very strong dynamic resistance. So for a while, I mean, this was looking picture perfect. We had rejection, and then we dropped all the way down here, followed up by a news event, spiked it up, and then just annoying consolidation all the way. A little bit more movement on GA, heading up. Let's see on the monthly. Yeah. So I have explained why this low of the wick is not valid. This is just straight up a liquidity wick. I do not count it in my fib placement. So we can see that GA has respected the 38.2 on the monthly time frame quite nicely, and we see a continuation at this point. It seems like also in the COT reports, it seems like both commercial and non-commercial sectors are bullish on the British pound. So even if the technicals would say on the lower time frames, because on the monthly, we can clearly see at The monthly candle before obviously gave us a bearish bias. I entered sells here, yes, but then this candle development just proves to us that by the end of the month it is more probable to close bullish than bearish, which would stop me from entering any sells, even though if you guys like to analyze on the 4-hour time frame, even though you would see some smart money demand zone right here. I don't know what to tell you. I just don't look at it this way. But yeah, so if anything, I'll be looking for buys. It's hard to say at this point because we would have to see a bit of we would see how price develops, etc., to consider any positions at the moment. COT report suggests weakness in the Swiss franc. So I mean, I wouldn't. This is not the usual trade due to the USD weakness, but yeah, it doesn't look too good price action wise either. But any other Swiss franc pair, I would be looking Swiss franc as a quote currency. I would be looking for longs. Nothing interesting. I lied. This is a very interesting one, actually. Okay, so finally, we find something we can maybe take action on right away. So just delete everything. So I can't remember. We were overall we were bearish on USD, and let's see. We had tomorrow there will be 3 news releases on the Canadian dollar. Retail sales, previous consensus is lower than the previous, so expected weakness in one, expected weakness in the other, expected weakness in the third, which is not ideal to enter sells at this point, but you can always see the next day and try to manage your position based on upcoming events like this. So on the weekly, what can we see here? No trend lines to be drawn. Nothing to see on the daily. Or actually, there is a trend line to be drawn, which is this one right here. Which does not look too valid at the moment. Yeah, so there's no valid technical factors that I can spot here, except for, just the simplest of the simple. We see a head and shoulders, and then break of the head and shoulders, and then there's continuation, which is honestly most probable to happen. So just based on these simple techniques, we can just, yeah, we kind of missed the best entry here. So at this case, we can look on the 4-hour. See how all right, so I would enter sells, but just not sure where I would probably, so what's the time now? The time is almost 7 p.m. I would probably put on sell limit somewhere here and then target, have our stop loss somewhere around here, and then target just this 100 EMA, just a short-term position. Just trying to think if this is really the way to go. I'm not sure about it actually, because this just gives me too little technical analysis to help me spot my entry. All right, let me answer some questions. Your screen shows Fidelcrest. Oh, that is actually if it shows a sponsor, it's not my sponsor, it's Cam. It's Cam's sponsor. Assad, I did go over gold. You can just go back and take a look on it. I'm not sure how long this is. So I think I've covered as I think I've been as informative as possible. There's nothing really, I'm not going to force to put in any trades at this time because there's none I'm willing to take, right? Which is maybe unfortunate since we have the stream running now, but it's just it's an important note to take. And to be fair, there's nothing interesting that would fit my criteria of opening a trade. So it's hard to give very detailed points when it's still kind of far away from my areas of interest when it comes to gold, EU, etc. So if you guys can just ask any questions you might think of, go on. And I'll answer them, and then we're gonna probably wrap this up. What pairs do you trade normally? I trade, as you can see on my screen here on the side, all these. So gold, sometimes silver, Euro USD, Euro NZD, Euro AUD, GJ, GN, GA, GU, UJ, UC, UCAN, and so all of these I trade. How frequently? It all depends on the condition of whatever currency. So sometimes the Australian dollar might have something interesting going on, or some technical levels that I'm looking for. So I'll be more heavy on the Australian dollar. Sometimes, it's just something else. Any investment plan ahead? Well, at the moment, I would only invest in growing my portfolio, and that's it. There's no other project I would be looking to take. So just getting as much money in my account as possible, getting as much capital, and then just not taking out whatever profits in there, and then just compounding over the years, and then 5% a month grows and grows and grows and grows quite significantly over time. Which time frame do you do your setup on? Well, I've just went through almost every single aspect of my trading and analysis. So if you want to take the time and just go back and look at it, then I'm sure you're going to find the answer. Which time frame do you take your entries? Well, that depends on the situation. Nothing is the same for each and every trade, right? Any last questions before we wrap this up? Which crisis period do you mean? Well, if inflation rate is going up and the US dollar is gaining strength, you measure the value of gold relative to the US dollar. So I don't know. I'm not really an expert of gold value, but I definitely know that the dollar has been very strong. So compared to the dollar, gold will not be as high valued. And now that we saw a decrease of the inflation rates, then the dollar will lose strength. And well, that's across the board, to be fair. It's not only gold that has gone up in value. But, so gold is a safe haven pair. Swiss franc is a safe haven pair. But still, you've seen the Japanese yen is a safe haven pair. But compared to the US dollar, all of them have, the US dollar has dominated all of them in comparison. So that might have something to do with it. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna act like I know fully. That's my best guess. I mean, you compare the value of something always. You compare the value to something else, right? That's how value is measured. So if you're comparing if you're comparing gold's value against the US dollar, then maybe that's why XAU USD has been going down. How much money do you have? That is very irrelevant, my friend. It's very irrelevant what I have. But I think we're gonna wrap this up now. I hope at least some of you have learned something and taken away a couple points from this live stream at least. And I hope I'm gonna be back doing a video with Cam very shortly. So take care, everyone, and I wish everyone good luck in the upcoming trading week.